Shadow Warrior 2 was released on the 13th of October 2016 and is the sequel to the reboot of the franchise from 2013. So relatively speaking, it's a modern game, but is it still worth your time? Well, let's check it out and hopefully get to a conclusion that will help some of you out there that are looking into this game.
He said I'm gonna hand over the club to C.
First off, hello everybody, welcome back to my weekend hobby of making hopefully lovely videos that might help some of you out there that have their Steam archive overpopulated by games bought on a sale and never touched afterwards. Now, straight out of the gate, this game gave me some serious Sam vibes. If somebody would force me to describe this game, I would call it a Serious Sam game set in Japan. Is that a bad thing? Absolutely not. The humor and the dialogue in this game is much better than it should be, and although not all jokes land, some of them straight out make me crack up. Usually in games the dialogue is the weak spot, but in this I was actually looking forward to the dialogues and the cutscenes, as it always kept me entertained and I never really had the impulse of skipping them. Now, gameplay wise, there is a lot to talk about here. First off, your arsenal variety is impressive as you gradually pick up different types of weapons, each of them unique, but all of them can be categorized as melee weapons, rifles, shotguns, pistols, and rocket launchers. Some of them are better than others, obviously. Now that being said, the cool part about it is that sometimes the stats can be deceiving, and the best way to find out which weapon is best and at the same time which one you would enjoy playing with the most is to just try them out. And I don't know if the developers intended it this way or not, but the fact that sometimes the stats can be deceiving pushes the player to try out some of the weapons that otherwise maybe would have never seen the light of day in the hands of our swaggy protagonist called Wang. Initially, when I started carving my way through the waves of enemies that the game throws at you, I mostly stuck to the ranged weapons. But after a while, I tried using the swords, and I gotta say, the best way to play this game is to really mix it up. Maybe cut up a few smaller enemies, take off some HP from the larger ones, and then just unload your magazines into what's left. It's such a cool feeling to cut down demons, and after that just pull out your machine gun and mow them down. But your abilities don't end here, as you also have different types of skills that you can use on your adversaries. From impaling them, like my ancestor Vlad used to do, to using Power Blast to push your enemies back just to give you a few precious seconds and strategize your next move. This game truly has a lot of different ways that you can play it, and that's great because theoretically the more diversity you offer, the bigger the chances of players sticking around and finishing the game. Oh, and there's also barrels that you can shoot when enemies are in the close proximity of them. Some of the barrels will burn everything around them, others will either freeze or poison your rivals. You can even avoid some of the confrontations if for some reason that's what you want to do, by using an ability that grants you invisibility for a limited amount of time. The variety does not end here, because in my humble opinion, the enemy variety is also a strong point of the game. From Yakuza members to sexy demons ready to cut you up, zombies, and all sorts of mutated creatures, this is one of those games that will put to shame some AAA games that supposedly hold themselves to a high standard. Now, we've reached the point where I always say this. All that being said, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. The enemies are sometimes hard to see, and all the madness that surrounds you is just hard to differentiate them from the surrounding habitat. And although I'm not a spring chicken anymore, I can definitely say that this is not just a nitpick of mine. I kind of have a suspicion that the developers might have been aware of this, as for some reason the minimap shows you all the enemies around you, even if you've never visited the place that you are currently in. Now usually I would criticize this type of minimap, but because of the previously mentioned point, it actually helped me quite a few times. I would not say that's the best solution for enemies that make you feel like you're losing your visibility, but at least it's a tool that you can properly use, unlike when other games do that for no good reason. A thing that I forgot to mention is that your mobility and athleticism in the game is awesome. Sorry, English is my third language. The game offers you the ability to do double jumps and dashes, which makes you hard to hit target for all those bastards that are out there to get you. Another thing that I was not a big fan of is that your opponents are a little bit bullet spongy. Now don't get me wrong, this is not Division 2 like bullet sponges, but unloading a full magazine of 30 bullets in a random low tier enemy to take it down feels a little bit too much. Also, the side quests are a bit uninteresting if I'm being honest, but if you are into the gameplay a lot, then they offer extra hours of gameplay, which is good in my book. Talking about extra hours, I gotta warn you, this is not a very long game. If you stick to the main story, you will get about 6 hours for your money. Obviously, that will depend on your skill level, on the difficulties that you play on. Now, as I previously mentioned, you can stretch that out with side quests, but still, it's a short game. For me, that's not a problem, because a game like this, Serious Sam for example, or Doom Eternal, I put them in the same category, meaning that I like to play them in short bursts of around 40 minutes, then I can move on with my day. Now, if you're the type of player that can run and gun for several hours on these, then yes, this might be a bit too short for you. But I always say that quality is better than quantity, and in my opinion, there's enough quality here. Plus, there's also a bit of replay value if you take into consideration what I've previously said about your arsenal diversity. It's brainless fun, and sometimes when you have a lot of responsibilities and too little time to enjoy life, a game like this is exactly what the doctor ordered. Now, about the storyline. I honestly feel like I would disrespect you for wasting your time talking about it. You don't get this game for its story, you get it for its gameplay, so don't think too much about it. I will say though, the world building in this game needs some serious imagination, and for that I applaud the developers. Another great news about this game is that although it's 5.5 years old, it looks pretty good. Now, it's not gonna look cutting edge obviously, but in a world where Elden Ring is released in 2022 and it still looks like some of the first games in that genre, well, who am I to say that Shadow Warriors 2 looks outdated? It runs smoothly, and with the exception of a single crash, I didn't have any technical difficulties in running and playing this game, which hey, although 10 years ago it was a normal thing to say, nowadays it's a feature for most of these pathetic video game developers. All in all, I had a good time playing this game, and for anybody that likes arena shooters and games that I've mentioned in this video, this is pretty much a must play if you ask me. Now, that being said, it's currently 36 euros on Steam, which is it's funny because the next game in the franchise, so to say, comes out in a few days, and that's 44 euros, I think. So it's like, what are you doing? Why is it so expensive? But that being said, I bought this game on a sale, and I remember it was dirt cheap. I think it was under 10 euros. So just keep your eyes peeled and strike when it's on sale, and then you'll have a good deal for your money. Guys, thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video. It would mean the world to me if you would leave me some sort of feedback in the form of a comment, a like, or a dislike. Because it would help me push through, you know, and make more content like this. I hope this video helped you in some way, shape, or form. Until next time, which probably is gonna be in 2 months, because I'm gonna start playing Elden Ring. Stay safe, stay clean, and stay strong. Roland, over and out.